Hey, so it is another beautiful perma-gray beige day in Pittsburgh, and I'm coming to you live from my office, which is always warm and cozy. And I wanted to talk today about how you know if your book is any good, because I get this question all the time, and there are some things that this is rooted in, but I wanted to give you some basic ideas today about how you know before you write a whole book and publish it and then go, oh my goodness, what if my book isn't any good? I've heard this question all through the process. I've heard it from people who haven't written a single word yet. I've heard it from people who are 4 chapters in and they go, oh, wait a second, what if this isn't any good? How do I know? What are the signs? Are there red flags? Will someone come to my door and knock? Maybe it's like the people from What Not to Wear and somebody finally rescues you from this book that is not any good. Which incidentally would be kind of cool if somebody stopped by your house and was like, stop what you're doing. Not sure about this book you're writing. So as much fun as that would be, let's talk about how you personally, without anyone else telling you, how do you know if your book is any good? And the first thing that you have to do before you start writing your book is take a look at your idea for your book. You want to examine if this idea is any good, because you don't just suddenly have a book, right? You have an idea. You have an idea to write about, whatever it is that you get questions about all the time in your niche. So look at what your idea is, and once you feel like, okay, I think this is pretty good, what you should do is go online and see what else is available. See if there are other people writing about this same topic. See if they're writing about similar topics. See if there is nothing at all available. And then find out why. Why is nothing else available? Are you so niched down that you just don't have a lot of other people that are in your niche? I know for me, it's not that common to find business book writing coaches. So there aren't a ton of books out there about how to write a book for your business. You may be in another niche like that. Maybe, maybe it's something else that's very, very specific and you haven't run across stuff like this. Or it could be that maybe you help people with, how to play the clarinet. And you want to talk about some of the basics for playing the clarinet, and there aren't that many books out there for elementary school kids to learn how to play the clarinet. Or maybe you look at adults, but there are more books for high schoolers. Maybe you help seniors learn how to play the clarinet, and that's something that they want to do once they retire, for example. So you may find stuff that is similar to what you do, but not quite what you do. So start by looking at that, and that'll give you an idea. Is this something that people actually want? Because if you're writing a book that nobody actually wants, then it's not going to sell. It's not going to get you anywhere in your industry. It's just not going to do a lot of good for you. So do make sure that you are examining what else is available, because that will give you an idea of whether your idea is a good idea. Once you've figured out that your idea is a good idea, next, as you're writing the book, you can actually make your book a good book by writing well. I know that sounds like a jerk thing to say. So whenever you are writing, you have to make sure that you're kind of anchored into yourself. Make sure that you don't have distractions, that you don't have all the garbage that's been going on in your head. You don't have issues with confidence around your writing. You don't have anything that's going to pull you away from, this is my goal, this is my audience, and I'm going to help them. Because when you anchor into that thought, and you know that you're educating, you're being helpful, however you want to word that, those are the things that are going to let you write more naturally. When you write more naturally, then your book is better. If you're writing conversationally, like you're talking to a friend or you're talking with one of your clients, then people will want to read your book because it reads smoothly, it reads clearly, and it just sounds like you. Remember that a lot of people are finding you online or they're meeting you at events, and they want to be part of your universe because you have what they want. You're offering something that they need. And when they find your book, it should be the same as meeting you. It needs to work with your brand. So you want to make sure that your tone is the same as when you're talking. So I wouldn't write something that is, let's say, very flat and straightforward. I tend to tell stories. I tend to get excited. I tend to be a little bit silly. I'll say goofy things. Those are things that people expect from me. They expect that from my brand. So when you read my book, you do get a little bit of my personality. If I was frustrated, or if I had a lot of distractions, or if I was sitting there going, I don't know if my book is any good, then that's going to block all that creativity, and it's going to block my true self from shining through when I'm writing. And you don't want to block your creativity. You don't want to have anything stop you from being you when you're writing your book, because that's what comes naturally to you. And once you get caught up in this hamster wheel of like, oh, is this a good book? Should I be doing this? Should I be saying that? Then that's when the writing doesn't flow. And that's when it sounds kind of very staccato. It sounds strange to people. That's when you end up with a bunch of, if you don't know what staccato is, if you end up with a bunch of choppy sentences, or you end up with that very common noun, verb, noun, verb, noun, verb start for your sentences. He said, she said, they did, we walked. If that's the kind of writing you're doing, then stop, because you're probably stuck in your head instead of dropping into your heart. So make sure that you are you when you're writing. You want to write naturally, you want it to be conversational, you want it to make sense and hook people. Hi, Bobby. So that's the first 2 points. The third point, whenever you're trying to figure out if this is a good book, this is rooted in judgment. Plain and simple. This is the biggest thing that keeps us from writing a good book, is that judgment. And, going off of what I just said about not being rooted in yourself and not focusing on what your audience needs. When you're stuck in your head, you're judging, and you feel like, okay, if I'm judging myself, then everybody else is going to be judging me, and I have to try to figure out if this is going to be a good book before I even write it. And you get caught in that loop. So you have to just release that judgment. You have to say, you know what, I have enough confidence in myself, and I have confidence in my message. That message is so important. And if it's been like, screaming in your head, or, beating in your heart, however you want to put it. I like the screaming in my head thing, because I always feel like I'm, screaming and trying to get a point across, because I have little kids. So if you feel like you have this message inside of you, you have to get anchored into that and make sure that this is the message that you're standing behind. Because if you don't focus on that, then you're going to be caught up in this level of judging yourself and feeling like others are going to be judging you. When you're trying to write a good book, you want it to be natural. You want it to be audience focused. And of course, you want to meet your goals, but that judgment is the biggest problem. That's why I get this question all the time. How do I know if my book is any good? It's good. You have to trust in that. And if you don't trust that your book is good, then you might not even write it. You might write it and not publish it. Or my favorite one is when people get close to that end point and they start having that freak out moment. So you get, about second to last chapter. Oh, I'm just going to go back and rework chapter 3. You know what? I'm going to redo my intro. I feel like that needs redone. I'm going to add another story in chapter 5 because I really think this story works. Oh, no, I'm going to go back and redo my author page because it doesn't really capture who I am. When we're caught up in that judgment and we're constantly saying it could be better, it can be better, it can be better, then you have to stop and say, look, I'm just trying to keep myself from putting this book out there because I'm afraid of other people's judgment. I'm afraid that this isn't going to be good. I'm afraid that it's not going to be accepted. That's it, plain and simple. So you have to stop letting that stop you from writing your book. Anchor into your messaging, anchor into who you are, and anchor into the idea that you're helping people. And those 3 things are going to get you over that hump, away from the what if my book isn't good enough? How do I know if it's good enough? What do I need to do? Is there somebody out there who's going to read it and go, yes, this is a good book? Because I get that a lot too. I get people emailing me and saying, hey, could you just read my book and tell me if it's any good? No, I can't. I can't do that. I have a lot on my plate, and as cool as I'm sure you are, I can't just sit here reading people's books all day and approving. And what does that do if I'm putting my stamp on it? Do you need my approval to put your book out? You have to ask yourself that. Now, if you want someone to walk you through and help you create that book, I will absolutely coach you through. I will absolutely hold your hand. But I'm not going to sit here and go, yes, this is a good book. You need to publish it. Because, why does what I have to say affect your message? It doesn't. You already have that message. You already know you need to get that book out there. So get that book out there. And if you want to work with a coach, or you need somebody to do editing, or you're not sure about the publishing process, reach out to me, because I want to help you get that book out there. But you have to have the confidence yourself. I can't have confidence for you. I don't have a garden full of confidence in my backyard that I can just, dig some up and hand it to you. So the 3 things we talked about today for knowing that your book is any good are examining what others have to offer, making sure that your idea is something that is needed. Make sure that when you're writing naturally. That's the second one. You write naturally, you write conversationally, you anchor into that idea of helping people, and make it make it smooth so people will understand what you're saying, and your writing is clear. All that's going to make it a good book. And you have to release that judgment. Release the judgment that you have of yourself and writing that book. So I hope that helps you guys get moving on this gray Pittsburgh day. Or if you're somewhere sunny, that's really nice. I wish it were sunny and beautiful here too. But right now we are still in the gray phase of winter in Pittsburgh, and it's the perfect time to be writing your book. So get moving, get typing, and message me if you're interested in booking a free half-hour consultation. We will chat about any challenges that you have writing your book, because I want you to get that book out there so you can build your business and start helping more people and really explode your message. So have a good day, and we will talk soon.